You know, we all know the importance of having a diverse and inclusive workforce, from the tech firms to the teachers at your children's school and everywhere in between. Lately, there's been talk of DEI programs being shelved, as well as a certain amount of political polarization. Lindsey T.H. Jackson, a diversity, equity, and inclusion professional, joins me now to talk about the state of DEI programs and where we go from here. So good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about DEI programs. These are not new. Where did they start?
You know, I was just having this conversation with somebody recently. America is a DEI program.
Just in general?
Just in general. The idea that we saw disparities in the experience of different individuals, of different classes, different ethnicities, and many people from all over the world thought, I want to go create something new,
right?
Something aspirational. That is DEI.
It's such a great way of looking at it, and I don't think it's something that people think. It's sometimes not approachable.
Exactly.
They're like, I don't know where to begin with this. So talk to me about the tangible benefits of this, the big picture of a diverse and inclusive workforce, what that looks like and what that means when you talk about this great idea of something that is inclusive for all.
That's a great question. I think for so many people, the concept of something that is equitable and inclusive and allows for diverse individuals to thrive seems like science fiction.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like some sort of utopian world that doesn't exist.
Exactly, something out of a, Star Trek episode.
Yes.
But even, sometimes when I'm watching this show and I get to see the different individuals coming with their different stories, one after the other, that is what can happen in workplaces. That is what can happen in schools and communities and churches, that everybody is given access to the skills that they need, to the resources they need to contribute their best to society. That's not a foreign concept in many organizations, and yet for some, it's still very scary or very new.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for that compliment. Incredibly well received. Thank you. I know that there have been a lot of, DEI concerns in the headlines. What are some of the criticisms of the work?
Yes.
Yes.
How much time do we have this morning? As a researcher, and a lot of that requires the study of history within these movements, it is not uncommon anytime we are seeing a large paradigm shift, shift towards more access for more people, that we see a backlash.
Yeah. The
status quo is starting to tip. The élité, which is a term coined just in the early 1900s around the idea that there is an amassing of wealth for a small set of the population, and the larger 99% do not have as much as just that 1%.
Right.
We see that throughout history again and again. And the way that we keep that intact is that you have to convince kind of the 75% that they could be the 1%.
Right.
And so this backlash is not uncommon as people come together and say, this isn't working. It's not working for me. It's not working for you, even though you think you might get to be those 1%. The likelihood is very small.
I feel like a lot of this, it's almost like subterfuge. There's this massive 1%, and let everyone else squabble amongst themselves, and nobody's getting better for it. Nobody is seeing better benefits in their lives. And this is what was upsetting me about the political environment right now. It's that it seems that we're focusing on the wrong things. Why is DEI becoming so politically charged when there are other things that I think we're being kind of blinded from?
Yes, it's a strategy. One way to distract the masses is to prey on fear.
Yeah.
And so it is a strategy that we have used again and again, and we have used it since antiquity, is to prey on the fears, prey on the need for control, the need for certainty, which society is not. That is not the promise.
Yeah.
It's not life, liberty, justice, and no change.
Right.
And so I always invite people to interrogate the part of them
Yeah.
that is fearful of change, is fearful of what they don't know. Because politicians will use that again and again to get you to make decisions that are not even aligned with your values.
Right. And not even realize, take a moment to look at what it is that's causing that. You know, as we go forward in our schools and our businesses, there are course corrections that need to happen, obviously, when it comes to how leaders implement DEI programs. Isn't that right?
Yes, yes. One of the things I talk about a lot is the need for a standardization within the DEI profession.
Okay. How does that look?
You can get me on a soapbox about this.
We got time.
Yes. I think like many fields that are constantly growing and developing, and HR, for example.
Yeah.
It's over 120 years now in terms of a profession. Early 19th century, there was a really push for standardizing the ways that we support workers' rights, the ways that we support psychological safety.
Right.
DEI needs to have something like that, a standardization of how we train, how we coach practitioners, how we ensure that certain markers or maturity models are shared across the profession.
Yeah.
Because we don't have that, you have a lot of people saying, I'm a DEI practitioner today.
Right. And by what are you measuring that?
Exactly.
That is, and that's why I'm so grateful you are in this work and you are doing this. And I think that it is so great to see that having that idea of standardizing these ideas can be exactly what we need. Thank you so much, Lindsey.
Thank you.
I can't believe that was 6 minutes and it's already gone. Oh my goodness.
Time flies.